Hi, I'm Larry Levin of the St. Louis Jewish Light, and welcome to another edition of Hey Hey 5 and 5. With me today is nonprofit maven Jayne Langsam, who has served both as a professional and lay leader in the local Jewish and education worlds, among others. So Jayne, thanks for joining us today.
Glad to be here.
So one of your newest challenges is your position with the Jewish Federation, serving as the provider of so-called concierge services for young Jewish families. And in fact, there's a part of an article this week in the Jewish Light about what you do. But for our viewers, can you kind of describe what it entails and why it's so important to the community?
Sure. First of all, let me just correct a little bit. It's concierge for families with young children.
Thank you.
Not all
Services.
and services. Point being that they're not all young parents,
Got
but
it.
it's parents who have young children.
Thank you.
And our hope was that part of the Federation's strategic plan is to really look to engage the next generation and to make St. Louis as vibrant a place as possible for those next generation of families with young children. So the hope is that we as the community can be there for these families with young children in terms of providing personalized information and services that help meet their needs.
Now, as a mother of Jewish children and one who raised young children in this community, do you see different challenges today than when your children were young?
I do, in the sense that there are so many options. When I was raising young children, I felt you had the J and you had your congregation, and people like myself who are from St. Louis had family. The difference is that even though most St. Louisans come back to live at home, we have a lot of people that are moving here that aren't from St. Louis. Don't feel a sense of connection, don't know where to go. Again, they have the website, they have the internet, they have programs, and it's just, and sometimes it takes more time to figure out, look at those programs. So as a concierge, my hope is to really help them navigate all that information, help point them in the right direction, maybe to 2 or 3 choices rather than 10 choices.
Without naming specific names, can you maybe give us an example of how you helped provide or recommend services for a particular family?
Sure. So let me give you just a couple examples because I think it really points out. So I met with people that have really active in the community, part of Young Professional Division of Federation, and even those families sometimes aren't aware of programs such as Our Jewish Home that Cage is able to provide, that are actually taking new people now as a program that starts in April. So I've been able to introduce them to that program, get them involved. I was able to, interestingly enough, a lot of families that have moved out west were unaware of Chabad in Chesterfield and are finding that as a great resource.
That's great.
So met with some people that are here from out of town that just weren't sure which synagogue worked for them. And I was able to give them a little bit of that sense of what conservative means here in St. Louis, how it's a little bit different than those in New York, a little bit different than those in Iowa, and give them a few options.
Let's switch out of the Jewish world for a minute. You're now serving in a role that is described certainly as essential to the community, but often described as thankless, namely that of a member of the board of directors of a public school district. What do you find most rewarding in that role, and what do you find most frustrating in that role?
The most rewarding is I love educators, and I love to learn. So I can't think of better people, smart people, to really be around, learn from, understand the challenges, take those challenges on, and do what I can to help out. Clearly, the most frustrating thing is one is time. You know, working part-time and raising a family and spending time when there are major issues and there's additional meetings and town meetings and you should know that time is an issue, and you know, clearly you can't make decisions that make everybody happy.
You grew up in a family that really valued community service, and surely that's had an effect on you in terms of how you look at your look at your adult life? What are the lessons that you learned growing up in terms of what you give back to your community?
Not only did I grow up in a family that valued giving back to the community, they also valued children and families with young children. My father's a pediatrician. My mother's an early childhood educator. I grew up having discussions about what is best for families and what is best for children, what is the best educational practices, what is the best way to give back to your community, what is the best way to strengthen your Jewish community. And these are things that I can do in my present job all the time.
That's wonderful. Jayne, thanks for spending time with
You're
us.
welcome.
Thanks for joining us on another edition of Hey Hey 5 and 5. Till next time, take care.